Granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
This is another instance of something that I just don't understand. The headline is Mother Loses Right to Care for Brain Dead Son. And the story is that the young man tried to kill himself and didn't quite succeed, but ended up oxygen starving his brain, and he's been in a sort of vegetative state ever since. Now, the NHS says he is in a vegetative state, and the mother of this young man says that he has limited cognition of a sort, and she wanted to look after him. So here's somebody who is prepared to take on the onerous duty of a patient who needs constant round-the-clock attention, and who is a 28-year-old, so a heavy fellow. I mean, he must be a fairly heavy body to move, to turn over, all the rest of it. And she's prepared to do that. And the state is taking that job off her against her will. And I cannot understand what the reasoning is behind that. I'll read the story. The health service had secured court orders to move the 28-year-old from his family home to a care facility. Now, we all know what care facilities are like. Care facilities were the sort of places where old people were put so they could catch COVID. That's really what happened. And this has happened not only in Britain, by the way. I think it happened in the USA as well, to my knowledge, and it must have happened in other places too. And it turns out that the care facility has barred the woman from visiting and prevented the family from speaking publicly about the case. Now, can you understand that? The mother obviously has been barred from visiting because she was making too much of a fuss about the level of care that she saw was not being given to her son. And she was probably getting quite stroppy with them about them not changing whatever they had to change, medicines, clothing, toileting or whatever, various tubes, feeding tubes, that sort of thing, which have to be cleaned and kept regularly changed. And as she said, they weren't doing it often enough. And I can imagine that she was getting quite upset with them, maybe even aggressive. But that's neither here nor there. If she is then prepared to take that young man and look after him at her own expense, certainly her physical expense, there might be some support given to her, but nothing like the sort of price that a care facility would charge for the same sort of work. And they're not letting her do it. Not only are they not letting her do it, that they are preventing her and her family from even complaining about anything that might be going wrong. The mother claimed the care of her son at the care home was poor and that he would be better served by being at home. Now, look, if a social worker had come in and found that the woman was beating up this poor inert body, yes, I could understand her being relieved of that particular job. But apparently not. It seems that the man was doing as all right as he could be doing in the circumstances, under the care of his mother and probably the rest of her family as well, by the looks of things. Mr. Justice McKendrick, who's the fourth judge to be involved in the case, however, concluded that the man, who cannot be identified for legal reasons and is known only as FHR, should be discharged from hospital and returned to the care home. Right, so you see, he was in hospital. If you look further down the article, you'll see this. Shortly after being transferred to the care home, FHR's condition deteriorated significantly and an ambulance was called by his family, not by the care home. He was taken to hospital and treated, but the care home later objected to the family having called emergency services without its permission. What do you think is going on there? A care home which has not looked after somebody so that he needed to go to hospital, then demands the body back. Well, do you think it's because they're earning quite a bit of money out of that body? I don't know. I'm not saying that's the actual motive, but I can't think of anything right now, just off the cuff. After his discharge, the care home imposed severe restrictions on family contact. I mean, this is kidnapping. The judge heard that there had been a difficult relationship between the care home and the mother and that the police had to be called. OK, so the mother had been shouting at them, probably. Can you imagine a mother seeing her child being mistreated, not losing her cool? Since April 2025, the mother has been prohibited from visiting her son in person and is limited to a single 20-minute video call per day. The cruelty of it, the inhumanity. It's just unbelievable. It really is unbelievable and certainly incomprehensible. Oh, as our dear Prime Minister said in Parliament recently, incredible. The court heard that the mother considered the care at the home poor. Sounds like it was if the man had to be shipped off to hospital because something had gone wrong. She claimed her son's tracheotomy was not changed for 5 months and that he'd suffered multiple infections which she said were avoidable. Yeah, so that's it. They weren't changing the various tubes and inlets and outlets enough. And this person was suffering the consequences. Because, of course, a care home has rotating staff. Sometimes somebody's sick and they can't cover. I'm not saying that this is all deliberate. It might be. Then again, it's just one of those things. But the mother will dedicate, it looks like she wants to dedicate her life to this. Bruno Quintavalle, representing FHR's mother, told the court that during the past year, FHR had been at the care home. He had to be taken to hospital 4 times for serious infection, compared to only once during the 4 to 5 years he was under his mother's care. So it's quite obvious that the care at home was going to be better. So what's the reason for putting him in the care home? Well, he's going to die quicker, isn't he? Is that what the government's after? I still don't understand that, because the mother isn't costing them anything anyway. When he's in the care home, he's costing the NHS a lot. First of all, they're having to look after him, and bills for such places are quite high. And then he'll be going to hospital every so often, quite often, and that's also expensive. And so it's costing the NHS a bundle. And yeah, then he's not going to survive for very long, according to the mother, and it certainly looks that way. But if he were at home being looked after by his mother, the cost would be negligible. She's doing it for free. They might have to supply a bed, you know, an NHS rising bed or whatever, and that's about it. And if he's not in the hospital all the time, then again, he's going to be less of a drain on the NHS. So, either way you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. Mr. Quintavalle said, the mother has very good reason to believe that her son's life is at risk if he's transferred to the care home. Giving his verdict, Mr. Justice McKendrick told the court that an occupational therapist who'd spent considerable time carrying out an assessment considered FHR was well cared for at the care home. An occupational therapist who is being paid by the NHS says that the care home is adequate, the care home which is being paid for by the NHS. Mr. Justice McKendrick said the mother thinks care is better, I think it's supposed to be her care, is better than the care he gets at the care home, and she gets to see him, which she has every day. She is obviously devoted to her son and wants to see him, and they are keeping her even with the man in the care home. They're not letting the mother in to see him. It's kidnapping, it's extortion, and it doesn't make any sense. If it made some sort of sense, I'd say, oh, well, you balance it out here or there, but there's no balance on this. Well, not from the way this article is being written anyway. A number of reports suggest he is in a vegetative state. The family reports a higher level of consciousness. The judge said the manager of the care home has discretion to restore the mother's visiting rights. So they are just allowing the manager of the care home to torture a mother by, offering, how do I put this? Here, take this. No. Oh, here, take it. Go on, be very nice. Say pretty please. And the NHS North East London Integrated Care Board should urgently consult with the care home to see if a revised visiting schedule with the mother can be put in place. I do not understand it. I just... You can always tell when I've not been riding. My hair is straight. It's not been sweated up underneath a riding hat. I do not understand what this whole thing is about. There's a devoted mother wants to take care of her adult son who is in more or less some sort of a vegetative state and requires round-the-clock care, and they're not letting her do it. No, he's got to go to a care home where he's constantly being prey to infections. Of course, he won't last very long. They never do in that sort of situation. It seems to me that's the whole point. All right, well, that's the story. It's been anonymised. The Court of Protection imposed a transparency order. Oh, slavery is freedom, yeah. Anonymising the family and prohibiting the publication of any photographs or videos. Right, well, either transparency order, I don't know. This whole business is opaque as the event horizon outside around a black hole. Okay, well, that's the story. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.